Hello, I'm Alena Chapman, and I am founder of Soul Manifesto. So, why is forgiving others so important in our personal growth? And yes, it is important in our personal growth. I know I hear so many times, they don't deserve it. Well, let me ask you this. How many people are truly affected when you do not forgive them? Do they really care? Half the time, or more than half, I'd say a good 97% don't. And they actually live their own lives. Well, we really do have to understand that when we hold on to that anger and that hurt, it creates in us, a heaviness. It makes us bitter, and it weighs on us. It affects our organs. It affects our able to connect to something higher than ourselves. And I think sometimes I even see some people wear this, they did this and I survived it. And all of a sudden they're wearing that whole incident in their life as a badge of honor. Now, do you know what really happens when you do that? And you're living that? The universe says, oh, I guess she must love that, or I guess he must love that. And they put more and more circumstances and situations that feed that anger, that feed that badge honoring kind of person you're becoming. Is that what you want? Is that really where you want to be? It's time to let go. Really learn to let go. You see, everything that happens to us is a chance to learn. It's a chance to grow. Whether that person cheated you out of money, whether that person betrayed you in some way, whether that person lied to you, whether that person was cruel and narcissistic, it doesn't matter. There's a lesson in there for you. But you have to forgive to be able to learn the higher perspective lesson. For instance, if I'm stuck in that betrayal, then my biggest lesson is, I'll never let that happen again. But I'm so stuck in it that of course it's going to happen again and again and again and again. I haven't learned the universal lesson. But as soon as I forgive, all of a sudden I learn this lesson. Oh my gosh, I've got to learn whatever it is I have to learn. That prevents me, that lesson prevents future circumstances to come in because you've learned it. You don't need it. And here's another thing. When you forgive, then it's another layer that opens up to be able to connect to something higher in yourself, your higher self. It's another layer removed so that you can hear your soul and the guidance. But if you keep it in place, the critical mind feeds it like crazy. Feeds it with the old experiences. Yeah, got to rehash that again. Got to rehash why we're angry again. You end up living in a cycle. So it's time to break free of that. So what are some ways you can start to forgive? Okay, there are many ways to start to forgive. You can get someone to help you. That's a good start, to get that higher perspective feeding you. But if you're doing it on your own, there are wonderful ways that you start just by reflection on yourself. I love what I call self-observation in my meditations. When I was getting divorced, there were a lot of things that happened on the divorce and on all personal levels. And I had to learn how to forget or not forget, but forgive, and hopefully even forget over time, some of the stuff that had happened. And it was important, even while I was going through that divorce, I had to learn how to forgive, even though stuff was still happening, because I had to keep my mind clear. I couldn't stay in that horrible place because I had to help my boys through this too. So I learned this wonderful practice called self-observation. Vernon Howard, who was a philosopher in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and I think a little bit of the 90s too. He was in California, and he taught about self-observation. And he meant it for when you're out and about and you're doing judgment, or you're having things on the outside of your world. Well, I brought it into meditation. So I have self-observation meditation. What is that? So I get myself really relaxed, and I do the deep breaths, and I get myself into that place, that wonderful place. And then when I'm feeling that sweet spot that we always talk about, that vastness, that quietness, that incredible consciousness, spirit, then I say, okay, so what is it that I'm having trouble forgiving right now? And I see the event unfold. But I don't put emotion on it because I'm above it. And I look and I say, okay, so what really happened? Why did that come? Well, because they did this. Well, what did I do before that seemed to, what didn't I understand? What made that even unfold in him or her? And then that'll show. And then I go back to them, and then I go back to me, and then I go back. And before I notice, I'm at a place where I think, well, of course that would have all unfolded the way it did. I did a self-observation to get to a higher perspective of that situation. I understand his moves. It's like a chessboard. We have our predicted moves because we move in habitual behaviors. So everything becomes predictable, and you can see the whole picture of why it even occurred. That offers you the opportunity to see from a higher perspective and to forgive easier. That's one of the best ways I know how. And when you do that, it's freedom. You'll start to feel it lift from your body. You will, especially if you've been holding on to it too long. You'll just see it start to just lift, and you'll feel freedom, a lightness. Now, other ways to forgive is just starting to realize that person is who they are. Well, that even comes with the self-observation. Actually, everything really comes from that self-observation. I think it's one of the best tools. It's not taught very often. I guess because people didn't have to do what I did and forgive all the way along the way. I had to forgive many times, and I had to learn how to do that. But you know what? What really happened was I found that pattern, so I just understood how that was going. All of a sudden, I just expected it. Didn't even worry about it until I was done with the divorce. It's very interesting. And when you can forgive in that way, you start seeing things in a higher perspective. And this is the best part. When you really forgive like that, then you're already in the higher perspective, and the lesson becomes clear so easy so that you never, ever have to live through that circumstance again. Isn't that a very big plus? So it's important for us. It's important for us to forgive because life's too short. Do you know, they say, Dr. Emoto, he was a doctor who did all the water crystals, for emotions. I don't know if you saw that. He was out of Japan, and he was a doctor, and he crystallized water after feeding that water an emotion, such as One glass would say thankfulness, another one would say jealousy, another one would say anger. And what I found really interesting is that he didn't even yell at the water like I thought he would, or say thank you, thank you, thank you. He just put notes on the water. Now, this is the interesting thing. When he did the crystallization of the water, each one had different crystallizations. Thankfulness is this beautiful, beautiful, oh my gosh, it's like lace, a lace snowflake. While anger is horrible. It looks polluted. It has holes in it. Chaos and confusion looks like our universe spinning in like steroids. But here's the thing. We are 70% water, folks. 70%. If you're holding on to anger, what are you creating inside you? The only person that gets affected by not forgiving is you. You are the one holding on to it. You are the one messing up your water inside. You are the one who is carrying it in every muscle and every cell of your body. And it's up to you to let go of it. Try the self-observation meditation. Give it a shot. It's time to let go. And I'm so glad you're part of Soul Manifesto, where you get these really cool exercises. And I'm Alena Chapman. Most of all, guys, spirit is love. And to open up to that full love, we must forgive. And then love is gaining spirit. Love you all. Namaste. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll enjoy. Namaste.